Good morning, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the news this Thursday morning. And the propagandist over at MSNBC. And of course, CNN. All these other places on mainstream media are sounding the alarm for Democrats, and warning their viewers that is going to be a complete wipeout, come the November midterms, of how big the advantages are for Republicans. Of course, this is not for you to just coast back and sit home, this is for you to be activated. And for you to go to the polls on election day. On election day, make sure you cast that ballot for your representative, or your state representative, or your governor, whatever it is, make sure you show up in person on the day of election. That's very, very important. Anyway, so they're over here sounding the alarm bells, they know that their party is in danger. And big danger reminds me that meme of The Simpsons with little Ralph in the back of the things. Hey, I'm in danger, as he chuckles, right? Anyway, they are in danger. You know, people within the Democrat circles already pulling money from somebody races already, because they know their chances are a very long shot of actually winning now. In a lot of these areas, they are going to lose the House, I believe for sure. And the Senate, more than likely now, is leaning more favorably toward the Republican control course, you know. Then we got to deal with some of the rhinos and some of the people within our own party. But it's better than having to deal with these Democrats who are currently in power. And maybe we can slow down on some of this destruction for the time being while we regroup for another 2 years to vote out some more to rhinos, some more these unit party individuals. But here's this MSNBC shill over here, sounding alarm to the Democrat Party, and let him know how danger they are in right now for a gigantic tidal wave of redness. So let's go and dive into it. Let's take a listen to this video over here of MSNBC freaking out, as he reads off how bad Democrats are doing right now. Let's take a listen. Said. When you look at our most recent NBC poll here and you ask folks, what is the single most important issue that's going to drive your vote in this year's midterm elections combined? 34% say either jobs in the economy or inflation. And you combine those two, that's the biggest single number you're going to get on that question. The Republicans have a nearly 30-point advantage over the Democrats, it's 8%. In our most recent poll, who cite abortion as the number one issue in their midterm vote, Democrats have a comparable advantage within that 8% over Democrats, but 34 versus 8, that's economy and inflation. That's where abortion is in between. Okay, there you go, freaking out. They're freaking out over there on MSNBC and these other news networks because they understand what's going on. They understand that their people that are currently in power are going to be shifted out of power, because of the American electorate who is absolutely tired of all of this stuff that we've seen take place in this country, the rising cost of living, energy prices, open border, just crime, just unimaginable amount of crime that is currently taking place, and nobody's being held accountable for that. Right now, at a local level. That's where you guys really need to make your voices heard, at these local levels. And the city councils and these DIA, as all these people who are readying to continue to let criminals out as soon as they commit a crime, being laid in the back on the street, so they can continue to do more crime, which is terrible for our country, terrible for our culture, terrible for the nation that we love. So once again, Democrats are panicking. The mainstream media is panicking. But doesn't matter unless you show up on election day. So on election day, make sure you show up in person and cast your ballot. You can make all the difference. And next news, Don Lemon is finally gone, at least he's gone from primetime. I don't know what this guy did to stay on the network, but somehow he managed to figure it out. And while just a couple of weeks ago, he was claiming I was never demoted. It was my decision. I just wanted something new. It seems as though the reality is a little bit different. I don't think Don Lemon was looking to a move to do a morning show. I think Don Lemon didn't have a choice. And you could tell that very clearly, because he didn't seem so happy, and his final primetime late-night show he seemed frankly distraught, to be completely honest with you, basically on the verge of crying, and of course Don Lemon did what every good little Democrat does, he made the whole thing about himself, made himself the victim, and of course, cried racism. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. Let's talk about why it's completely ridiculous. It's talking about the end of woke media in general, and especially late-night talk shows, and another report that's relatively vague coming out of CNN. Alright, folks, We'll take a look at this tweet right over here at Don Them on cries racism as he signs off final show after getting pumped off primetime. Everyone listen to this, Don Lemon said. I back when conservatives attacked me, you had my back. When liberals attacked me, you had my back when racist attacked. And speaking of when the former president sent armies of bigots and people who threatened my life after me, you had my back as well. Our lives changed together in both good and unfortunate ways. We celebrated the birth of new Don Lemon tonight family members, and sadly, we saw the deaths of close friends and dear loved ones. I will never forget all of you for carrying me when I could barely stand. Oh, poor Don Lemon, he's such a victim. The reason Don Lemon's losing his show, at least based on his logic here, is because of the endless attacks of the unjustified attacks from the right wing from conservatives, and apparently Donald Trump's sending racist people to attack Don Lemon. What is this guy even talking about? Don't you love it? How it's always a one-way street with these left droids. Don the man, who has been pushing straight-up fake news, and injecting venom into public discourse. Don, the man who has been attacking Donald Trump, and conservatives from his primetime show, spreading fake news, lies, and slander over and over and over again. He's the victim from conservative attacks. Don Lemon's career was attacking conservatives. He gets called fake news and all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm the victim. You're no victim. Don, come on, you're a criminal. And speaking of criminal, I mean, can this guy be held liable? Isn't that slander or defamation to say on air in front of, I was about to say millions of people, but a couple of 100,000 people, that Donald Trump sent racist people to attack you? What proof do you have for that claim? This is why you're getting demoted, that little Don Lemon. This is why people criticize you. You're not a victim from conservative attacks. You're just the worst. You're a bad human being, and an even worse journalist or a reporter. In fact, you're not a journalist and you're not a reporter. You're a lying CNN hack, who in my opinion, might have just added fuel to the fire. That is Donald Trump's CNN lawsuit. Not sure how smart that was to claim that Donald Trump sent racist people to attack you right after he's launched his lawsuit to sue your network for $250 or $275 million. I mean, seriously, spare me the crap. All we ever see from these leftist journal types is them playing the victim. You are no victim. It's so incredibly toxic of these individuals acting in the most unethical manner possible. And then the moment that it catches up to them, they play the race card, the gender card, and the political card. I'm under attack. Woe is me. I'm just sick of it. You know, this is the exact same thing that we're gonna see with Joanne Reid when she inevitably loses her show. It's probably why she hasn't lost it already. MSNBC is probably mortified, petrified, terrified to get rid of Joy and Reid, because knowing Joy, what's probably going to happen, she's probably not just going to call racism when she gets fired or loses her show. She's probably going to sue for discrimination or some nonsense like that. Actually speaking to the fact that Don Lemon is still on the network. I wonder what he pulled behind the scenes, because considering the absolute total wipeout that's happening at CNN, it's honestly very surprising the Don the mind of all people is surviving the CNN purge. Oh, and speaking of the CNN purge, Don them on is, of course, as we've been saying, or as we've been predicting, not going to be the last one. The CNN purge continues, and we have it from the most reliable source, or John Nicosia, who has been on top of all of this scoop. Another quote big name is about to exit CNN. Stay tuned. Discovery executive. He does not have a place in the new CNN. He reminds us of the Zucker period. We are looking to move far from the only reason he is still on the air was to not look like we were, quote, cleaning house for political reasons. Right after the closing, I agreed not to report the name until the end of the week. But do you guys think it is a big name from CNN is going to be fired by the end of the week, and that is directly from a Discovery executive? I'll say it right here. It's either Jake Tapper or Jim Acosta, most likely, probably Jim Acosta. He is the biggest embarrassment on the network, but actually following what we just heard from Don Lemon, the same kind of nonsense always comes out of his mouth. He's the biggest fake news peddler, the biggest hack from the White House press corps during Donald Trump's first term, doing nothing but attacking the president over and over again. And what does Don Lemon say anytime anyone criticizes him or anytime Donald Trump hits back? Oh, woe is me. I am a victim. Donald Trump and these extremist Republicans and their unrelenting attacks on the media and the press. They're fascists, I say, give me a break. Don them on Jake Tapper. Anderson Cooper, Jim Acosta. The whole lot of them are vultures, and it's high time somebody holds them to account. You did your little Jeff Zucker endorsed anti-Trump anti-Republican stick, now it's over. And actually, speaking of that era being gone at CNN, I could probably mention this viral moment from earlier in the week. You know, CNN is moving away from their Jeff Zucker, anti-Trump, grift. When Caitlin Collins of all people CNN, Caitlin Collins is publicly calling out Maggie Haberman, suggesting that she has a special relationship with Donald Trump, and essentially that her entire journalistic stick, and the books that she's selling are nothing but an anti-Donald Trump grift. When CNN is pushing this kind of line of questioning, you know that serious change is coming. Honestly, though, I gotta give it to Caitlin Collins. She's somewhat redeemed herself. She's been relatively decent. Over the last 6 months or so, she's been asking some hard-hitting questions at press events, going after the Biden administration's lies in many different ways. And ever since Jeff Zucker has gone, Caitlin Collins has seemed to do a complete 180, and that's quite telling about what's happening at CNN behind closed doors. They are cleaning house, they're changing the image. The Jeff Zucker era is over and done with, and I'm just enjoying it from afar. Oh, poor little Don Lemon, poor little guy. Here's the perfect meme to describe how dumb the mind is feeling right now, putting on a mask as if everything's okay. It's all going according to plan, folks. It was my decision to leave the network or to drop down, rather give me a break. You can tell Don the mind is absolutely distraught. You're no victim, little Donnie Lemonhead. It's time to sit the F down. Take a seat and go cover the Kardashians or some other nonsense on a morning talk show. Nobody feels bad for you. This is what we call justice karma. Like I said earlier, you're no victim. You're the perpetrator. You're the criminal of fake news, CNN criminal hack. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Give me your thoughts below and